There we go. Okay. Hello, y'all. Joe here from Copyhackers here this fine Tuesday for Tutorial Tuesdays. Today we are talking about features, a thing that we typically do not talk about as copywriters, because the general rule of thumb is, hey, shouldn't you be talking about benefits, not features? There comes a point at which you should talk about features. Sometimes it might be your lead message. So you want to make sure you're doing it right. We will talk about that today. I'm going to share a presentation that has examples in it, a lot of takeaways for you. So while I'm getting that teed up, remember to subscribe to our channel, of course. And if you have any questions, throw those in the comments. Mike, my unseen co-host, is taking those questions and then throwing them my way to get them at the end of today's tutorial, which should be about 20 minutes. So make sure you throw those questions in there and we'll do our best to answer them. All right. You are now seeing the presentation, how to write about features, right? Again, this is Tutorial Tuesday. Almost every Tuesday, we give a 20-minute tutorial just like this on copywriting, digital marketing, all that good stuff. So first, what's a feature? What even is it? A feature is basically a component of the product. It's a part of the product. It's usually an identifiable thing, not an outcome, not a what's in it for me. It's the actual thing that makes the product up. I like to give an example of a lamp when I'm talking about features versus benefits. So a lamp is made of really distinctive things that we can all understand. There's a lampshade. That's a feature. A base is a feature. The light bulb is also going to act as a feature. The cord is a feature. Really straightforward stuff, right? You can see it. You know what it is. That's a lampshade. That's a base. It has a name. What do we do with those things, right? What do we do? Unless you've invented something that's brand new, which is beyond rare, you're going to optimize and differentiate your features so that your lampshade now becomes a textile lampshade, actual copy from the IKEA site for this lamp, which I cannot pronounce, which is shown in the bottom corner of the screen. There's going to be a base, right? But it's a stoneware base. So what's going on with that feature? What makes that feature unique or more desirable while still talking about the feature itself, which can then lead to a benefit? A textile lampshade might have a different benefit than a concrete lampshade, which wouldn't have many benefits at all. And then, of course, we've got a cord, which is one of those things that is a feature, but we rarely talk about it. So what do we do with features? Most of the time, we try to bury our features under benefits and outcomes, and that's largely a good practice. Most people are not coming to IKEA to buy a lampshade with a textile or a lamp with a textile lampshade and a stoneware base. You're not going around with like this checklist of things. Sometimes, maybe if you need a certain kind of base, then you absolutely will go around with a checklist and look for what that feature is made of, which is a good time for us to talk about what the feature is made of. But by and large, as marketers, as copywriters, as people involved in even product-led growth, benefits are what we are trained to lead with. Outcomes are the better version of a benefit. It's the real thing that a person can expect to get out of it. It's like a step beyond a benefit. And then we just don't really talk about how you got there. We say, this is the thing you're going to get out of it. This is wonderful. Your life's going to get better. You're going to look better. Everything will be better. And then we talk about how, but like way down the road, we talk about how, and rarely with any level of specificity. We just are trained not to talk about features. Some of the benefits and outcomes that we might talk about for a lampshade, instead of saying, hey, it's a textile lampshade, you might say, you will enjoy evenly spread and decorative light. And this is actual copy, again, from the IKEA page for this. This lampshade base, or this lamp base, sorry, it fits on small nightstands. It's sturdy. So what? So that it won't topple off a windowsill or your chest of drawers. This might feel like it's a bit of a stretch once we start getting into this, right? Like what's the benefit of a small stoneware base? And then you have to look for it. And sometimes maybe we're stretching a little bit far with our benefits and outcomes. This is the actual copy that IKEA uses for this lamp, small table lamp. in classic black and white with a stoneware base and topped with a textile lampshade that spreads an even and decorative light. Perfect to put beside a window or on a chest of drawers. They're stretching a little bit, right? Of course they are. And that's not the purpose of today's tutorial, but it is always an interesting thing that I don't want you to ignore as a copywriter. When it feels like you're straining to message a thing, chill. Stop. You don't have to fill in all the characters. If it's like, no, y'all, this is just like a small black and white lamp. We don't have to say that it's where it's perfect to put. Maybe that'll help, but oftentimes it's just, you're just filling in the gaps now. Like you're just trying to fill in your word count. So keep that in mind. And if you're more comfortable writing about features, then you can get more comfortable about finding those benefits. So we're going to get into that. Keep in mind though, that your features are the product. The product doesn't exist without those features. Mike is chatting to me. Ooh, I've already got a question. Cool. And I love it. And I'll get right to it. Siobhan. Okay, when it comes to those features, given that they are what makes your product a thing, why do we spend so much time building these features out only to not ever talk about them? We don't ever really bring them to life. There may be reasons. You might have reasons. I've been copywriting for 20 years. I know what the common answers are to this, but I think more often than not, what we're doing today is just ignoring the fact that you have built a product, whether that's a lamp or it's a piece of software or it's a course. You've built it and it's made of these components that are there to drive benefits and outcomes for people, but they still need to know what goes into that product. And you don't need to share it in a boring way. If you're like, well, this is a really boring screen, I don't want to talk about it. There's more to it than what you're looking at, and we should explore that. Basecamp is usually my go-to for great examples of how to do this. But even in Basecamp, possibly you could argue, well, Basecamp is a project management solution. This is a saturated market. Everybody knows what the features are. But that to me feels like it's even more of an opportunity to talk about your features because everybody's assuming everybody knows what this stuff does and nobody reads online. So I came to Basecamp, went over to this features page. This one is under the features category and it's the to-do lists page. So you can make to-do lists. And I was like, cool. They're going to have such great insights. They're going to show me all of the ways that they like made your to-do list better than anything else out there. What went into it? What's the story of this particular feature? And so we've got not a whole lot of copy going on there. This is all benefits that we're hearing at the top, right? See what's to do and to done. That's cool. Lead with benefits. That's great. It's just what happens when it's time to talk about the feature. That's what we're talking about. So we've got an action list, make the list, add the items, assign the work, set the due dates, and sleep well knowing it'll get done. We finish with the benefit, but then there's just all these like things I can do. Turn the lamp on, turn the lamp off, change the light bulb, change the light bulb to a different color. Like these things that you can do with it. But we're still not talking about features. We're not even talking about benefits either. We're just talking about like the stuff that happens with the product, which again is maybe a topic for another Tutorial Tuesday. But my real question here, and what I want to challenge you to do is try thinking about the story of each feature that you are writing for and make it interesting to people. I would have thought that this would get into this little bit of copy that we see around this great big hero image. We see a little bit of copy and it's still not really getting into what makes a to-do list in Basecamp better. I am wondering what makes a to-do list better. I already know what a to-do list does, just like I know what a lampshade does. So why am I only hearing instantly understandable and possibly powerful? Basecamp's to-do lists do much of the heavy lifting for you. How? Those are benefits. That's cool. Those are great outcomes. I want to have an impossibly powerful to-do list, but like, show me, what are you talking about? Show me how it's going to do that. And if you're like, well, just look, that's not good copy anymore. That's not going to actually really help me understand. Make as many lists as you want. This is the next one here. Make as many lists as you want, assign as many people as you need, be notified when things are later complete. Those are great outcomes. Those are the things that I can do with it. It's the fullest package in the simplest form. Really cool benefit. I still don't know how, though. I don't know how. I don't know what I'm seeing here. I'm just left to make assumptions all by myself. And how often does that work when we're writing copy, leaving people to make assumptions? They tend to just like ignore you instead, because it's work for me as your prospect to figure out what I'm supposed to understand from this. I get the benefits. Are they strong, compelling benefits? They'd better be, since we're not really saying anything else. However, they're, in my humble opinion as a copywriter, not strong, compelling benefits. They're very surface level, and this is what we mostly default to, especially in SaaS. My question is always, why are we rushing? Why are you rushing through everything? Levi's. Okay, we're going to talk now about this in the e-commerce world. When you are writing for something that has a physical feature, a thing you can touch, an actual thing, like a Swell bottle has actual things I can touch. And that's not true in software. That's not necessarily true in courses, definitely not true in service businesses. So the best way to give an example of how to talk about features and think about features is to show you a thing where you can go like, oh, right, that's a feature. I should tell a story about the feature. Let's do it by comparing two denim companies. Levi's is really well known. And again, they could have that good problem of everybody understands what our product does. Everybody understands these things. They did, interestingly, base their whole marketing for the longest time on that little red tab at the back of your 501s. And that's a feature. It's a little red tab and a feature that does a lot of things for you, but was all about the feature on your pocket. And then they pull back. Then new marketers come in and they go, maybe not, maybe we'll do something different. And eventually your features get diluted and we just talk about the benefits. So this gets into some features, but it's really going heavy on the benefits. And again, I'm not saying this is bad, but I'm going to show you what happens when you pay attention and give people time to think about your features. So let's read through this copy. Read along with me. You never thought it was possible, but then it happened. Your favorite jeans meet your favorite decade. 90s, y'all. We designed these with a classic mid-rise and a loose straight fit with just the right amount of bagginess through the leg. Sharon, I know, missing your 501s from the 80s and 90s too. They're the vintage jeans you've always dreamed of finding at the thrift store, but without all the rummaging, which I fully get. I'm not saying this is not good copy at all. It's just, why are we rushing? Because we could then get into, tell me more about the features. Instead, the features here are just like bullets. And that's not even, mid-rise is a feature-ish. Helping me understand which size to choose is not necessarily a feature at all. That it's the original blue jeans since 1873, also not a feature. A blank canvas, maybe-ish for self-expression. No, that's like the benefit. How it fits, composition and care is where we're really getting into the features of this jean. This is the stuff when they're talking about the product and how to make the product, they are talking about this specific stuff. What goes on in the factory? What does the factory have to know? This stuff. And it's too bad that we don't talk more about the stuff that the factory gets to know, because there is story there. 100% cotton, denim, no shit, a non-stretch button fly, 5-pocket styling, and then how to care for it. Okay, so we're really getting that it's cotton denim. It's one thing, actually. That's non-stretch cotton denim is really the actual thing we're talking about. So that's one feature, and it's got a button fly. You might think, how much more could you possibly share? It's jeans. We're going to talk about it. I do not know how to pronounce the name of this company. H-I-U-T. I am Canadian. I learned French in elementary school. I naturally want to spell it H-U-I-T, which is a French word. And so here, leave it in the comments. If you can tell me how to spell it or how to pronounce it. I don't know. But what I do know is their copy is a lesson in talking about features in ways that will make people care. I love this. I do not know how I first discovered them. but I'm so glad when I get an email from them. So I'm going to read the email to you, read along, and then we're going to discuss it as we go. So this is an email. The title is the Recycled Undyed Denim Short Run 30 Only. So they're not just talking about the features here, of course, but we are leading with it's recycled, it's undyed denim, and then we're getting into scarcity, which is great marketing stuff. Hi, Joanna. When we saw a swatch of this denim, we were very excited. We had never seen anything quite like it before. The fabric is made from both undyed yarn and, the name is Welsh. That's good. The fabric is made from both undyed yarn and recycled denim, a double win on the sustainability front, but also a winning combination from a style point of view. And then we can get in a little bit into the benefits. We've talked already about features, this fabric. We're hearing quite a lot about it, but now we're going to talk about the feature for a second. From a style point of view, we love the way this denim looks and feels. Cool. Then we get back into the feature again. The natural colored ecru yarn is peppered with a hint of blue from the recycled yarn, so it looks like your favorite pair of jeans that you have worn and washed a million times. Lead with the feature, finish with the benefit. Without sounding too poetic, and then we get into the benefit, the color reminds me of a sunny autumn morning when the blue sky is just beginning to break through the mist. Very dramatic sort of benefit. And because of the recycled content, back to feature, the denim has a really soft hand feature that will feel better and better with each wear. Benefit. I have a feeling this limited edition short run is one that will be requested for years to come. Sales. That's just the sales part. What they're doing is romancing the features. They have a cool product. And by the way, we all have a cool product, no matter what you're selling. It's cool to somebody, and you can make it cooler, whatever cool looks like to them, by romancing the features, by telling the story behind the thing. The email continues. Below, we've got the call to action for those who are like, I dig it, let's go. And then there's more for those who really want to know, which people who read are people who buy. The mill. This denim comes from Kurabo Denim Mill in Japan. Do I know where my Levi's 501 jeans, the denim comes from? No, I don't. Would I like to know? I would like to know. I'm happy to know this. Founded over 110 years ago, it is one of the oldest mills in the world. Kurabo are big believers in the Japanese practice of mote nai. Now, I know that's pronounced wrong. I lived in Japan long enough to know I've just pronounced that wrong. Pronounce it yourself. The word and blank, literally spelled wrong, that's okay, means what a waste. And it has become the foundation of an entire movement that focuses on reducing, reusing, and recycling to protect the world's resources. Now we are getting into a story behind the feature. The reason that the people behind this product said we have to make the product and we have to do it this way. That is interesting. I believe Team Basecamp has a story behind every to-do list that they have, every feature they have in their product. And I want to hear why Jason Fried thinks that's the right way to design a to-do list. There's an incredible story there that could really make me more feel closer to the product and really understand it, and also to the company. So then we get into it. For Kurabo, the practice of M means they have started to create recycled, cycled denim in their own factory. Story. They collect the denim waste from their own mill and from their partner mills, and then they respin the wastage to make brand new yarn. The end result is something pretty special. This is where we get into the outcome. So they've been educating their leads and turning them into informed customers. And if you've ever been confused when I say the customer is the product, this is what I mean. Copywriters build customers. The customer is the product that you are selling. That is what we're doing. We are creating a customer out of these parts that we're actually taking the time to tell the story that they would never otherwise know. But now I'm more likely to become a customer, and an informed one at that, and possibly a passionate one at that, who's going to stick around because I believe in the story. I understand the story. It's a good story. Then we finish with, now, this is my dog, Grover. When he hears me get worked up, he's like, I got to go calm this lady down. It doesn't even take much. I just get excited talking about features. And then he's like, what do you do? And then we finish with basically a bullet list like you'd see on the Levi's site. Details matter always. Recycled undyed denim. Buy the Mavericks, 100% cotton, 8.5 ounces. that's important, then how to order these for men versus women and what it costs and where it's made. That's a whole other story. A story I want to know now. When they ever do tell me why they make these in Wales, I want to know more now. I am invested now in the story behind these features. People can get there. They will read it if you make it interesting. So, as I wrap up this tutorial, I want you to write for your most excited customers, not for bored people, not for people who you think, well, they already get it, they already know. If they already get it and they already know, you can solve the problem of they won't read by just putting a call to action earlier and then immediately in a visible way, so not hiding it, immediately getting into the story that those most excited customers want to hear. There's no point in writing for people who don't read. What's the point? If they're not going to read, they're not going to read. So you might as well not write anything then. But we do write things because people do read and we can talk to our most excited customers. Ooh, Sharon said, Motai nai. Yeah. I knew that I was combining the A and the I to pronounce it I instead of ai. Thank you, Sharon. Okay, that is the tutorial for today. I'm going to take some questions now. The takeaway I hope for you is, hey, shouldn't we tell the story behind like this feature? Let's just try it and see what happens. And then keep telling those stories and see what happens as you build a customer. Okay, getting into the questions. Siobhan asked, when is the right time to prioritize features over benefits? Is it based on stage of awareness, uniqueness in the market? Great question. And I would say it's at least those two things. So go through our tutorials. If you're not familiar with stages of awareness, go over to copyhackers.com, go to copy school, where we talk about it all the time. It's everywhere. It's foundational. The stages of awareness. Once you're in that most aware stage, product aware to most aware, that's where we're really talking through features. It can happen quickly. You can get there really quickly, or you can get there slowly. You know what that journey is for your prospects. Point is, what do you talk about at each stage? And product aware is where you really want to dig into it, where you're trying to move them toward most aware, which is where people confidently buy. Uniqueness in the market is a great other point. You can differentiate on features. Even if your feature is exactly the same as someone else's, you can differentiate by telling the story behind it. Make it interesting. There's a huge opportunity. Nobody else is making it interesting. Like if you're in denim, you know who you have to compete with now. It's not Levi's. Levi's has total market share. Like they're all over the place. However, there's always room for something more interesting to come in. And any product that you're in, why not tell the story? This is why we care about, that's why Dyson's a multi-billion-dollar company, because we heard how it was made and what the story was behind every part of a Dyson. That's all. Then we trust them now. We get it. Oh, you're really smart at this. You really get it. A comment from Sharon responding to your question about why work on features if you're not going to use them, because it gives you context. No, I mean, why work on the product? Why build features in the product if you're not going to talk about the features? When you're building a product, you are trying to solve problems for your customer. You're trying to do what, and then how you get that thing done. If you're going to, you have these teams of engineers, product designers working on this stuff. And I'm not saying, again, I'm definitely not saying don't lead with benefits and outcomes, but when it's time to talk about the feature, let's hear about it. Let's talk about it. What makes it cool? And if nothing makes it cool, what is it doing on your website at all? Full stop. Okay, then there's more description of how things get pronounced, which is totally cool. And then Siobhan says, what does it look like to talk about SaaS features in a way that isn't basically actions you can complete with the product? Can you give an examples of this being done well with SaaS? Not done well, no. But this is about the story. This is where you go and you talk to the product team. Say, walk me through building this feature. Like, no, from the beginning, when they just jump in and try to give you benefits, say, no. Walk me right back to the beginning. Where did the idea come from? Why did you build this feature? They won't have an easy time answering this. So you will have to keep asking, cool, that's great. Now take me back to that moment when you thought, there's a better way to do this. What was the way to do this? Not the better outcome, but what did you think was the way to do this? And get them, the product team, to walk you through that. That's it. The copywriter doesn't know at Hute, doesn't know anything about they don't just naturally know about the product. You have to dig in. You have to find out, tell me more about this denim. Tell me more about this corduroy. They also do a really good email on corduroy. Tell me more about these things. And that's your job as a copywriter, not just to take what people tell you, but to be strategic. Because if you take what people tell you, AI can replace you. You have to go out there and be more strategic. You have to say, okay, we're talking about the feature now. Tell me the story. AI doesn't know the story behind that. You know the story behind that by asking people the story behind it. And then you communicate it in a way that is compelling for people. And that is how you continue to make money, keep your job, get hired by teams that are already using ChatGPT and are like, cool, but it's still not producing the right stuff for us. And it's your sidekick instead. You do that work. Sharon says, I love to do research and like to find the interesting background story. Cool. I think that's the case for most successful copywriters. You're either really creative or you're really like researchy. You like listening. You like hearing what people have to say, and you use that. So use it. Go find the story for your feature. And when it's time to talk about a feature, really talk about it. Do the feature the respect, and in turn, do the customer the respect of sharing the coolness behind this feature, because you can, and because it's unlikely anybody else is doing it. All right. Every Tuesday, we are here for Tutorial Tuesdays, almost every Tuesday. So be sure to come back, like, subscribe, do all the things you do on YouTube, and we will see you in our next Tutorial Tuesday. And in the month of November, we are talking about freelancer opportunities, what you can do as a freelance copywriter to get ahead. So stay tuned for that. And next